Hello everyone, and welcome to English Grammar with Max. Today we are going to talk about past time, past simple and past continuous. Okay, let's start with past simple. When we talk about past simple, we are talking about two things. What is the function of past simple? And what is the form of a past simple sentence? It means, why do we use a past simple tense or a past simple sentence? And how do we make a sentence with past simple? Now, let's take a look at the functions of a past simple sentence first. Past simple tense has three functions in English. Function number one, to describe something that happened and finished at a specific time in the past. For example, we watched a film last night, or she cooked pasta last Saturday. Watched is in past simple and cooked is in past simple too. And both of these actions are happening at this specific time in the past, last night and last Saturday. So this is for describing something that happened and finished, or an action that happened and finished in the past at a specific time. Now, the second function of past simple in English, two, to describe a habitual action in the past. For example, last summer I went out with my friends every day. In here, again, your sentence is in past simple tense. I went out with my friends every day. And this is describing something which happened on a regular basis in the past, or happened frequently in the past, or happened habitually in the past. Now, the third function of past simple in English, three, to describe a fact in the past. For example, 10 years ago, I didn't know you. This is only or merely describing a fact in the past, something which was true or was not true in the past. 10 years ago, I didn't know you. This is the third function of past simple. Now, let's see how a positive sentence or an affirmative sentence is written in past simple. In a positive sentence, we start the sentence with subject, and then we use the main verb in past form. I will talk about past form in a few seconds. Example, she loved that house. In this sentence, she is the subject of your sentence, and and love is your main verb in the past form. Now, let's briefly talk about past form of verbs in English. 1. Regular verbs. 2. Irregular verbs. Generally, regular verbs are the verbs we use ed to when we are forming the past form. For example, we say watch plus ed in the past form, watched, or clean plus ed, cleaned. These are regular verbs in English. It means when we are writing the past form of them, we just add ed to the end of the verbs. But we also have irregular verbs which don't follow any rules, and you only can learn them by practice. For example, eat. The past form of eat is ate. The past form of read is read. The spelling is the same, but the pronunciation is different. This is read and this is read. And for example, ring, the past form is rang. Or drink, the past form is drank. Or see, the past form is saw. We have a lot of irregular verbs in English, and the only way to learn them is practice and read books or watch a lot of movies. Now, a few points about the form again, about regular verbs. If a verb ends in a consonant plus y. For example, try or cry. We want to add ed to them and turn them into past form. When you add ed to these verbs, you remove y and add I instead. Like this. And cry plus ed, C-R-I-E-D. Now, another point. If a verb ends in one vowel plus one consonant, we double the consonant. For example, fit plus ed, we should double T because this verb ends in one vowel, I, and one consonant. So we double the consonant. Fitted. Another example, regret plus ed, we double T. Simple. When we add, we start the sentence with subject plus didn't or did not, and this is the contracted form of did not, plus main verb in base form. Whenever we are writing a sentence, we need to know the form of the main verb, and that is a very important thing to know when you're writing a sentence in English. Example: I didn't see you. I is your subject, didn't is your auxiliary verb, and see is your main verb in base form. Now, How do we write a yes or no question in past simple? We start with did plus subject plus main verb, again in base form. Actually, as a general rule, whenever our auxiliary verb is did, do, or does, the main verb is always in the base form. Example. Did you clean your room? Did is your auxiliary verb, you, your subject, and clean, main verb in base form. Now, about WH questions. We start with WH word plus did plus subject and plus main verb, again in base form, because we have did here as our auxiliary verb. Why did you do that? Why is your WH word, did auxiliary verb, you is your subject, and do is your main verb in the base form. Now, let's start talking about past continuous. Past continuous has two functions in English. Function number one, to describe something which was in progress at a specific time in the past. Example. Last night at 8 I was cooking. This is a past continuous sentence, and we always have a specific time for a past continuous sentence. We will talk about form later on, but this is only about the function of past continuous. Now, the next function of past continuous is to describe several continuous actions happening at the same time. Example. When you were talking, I wasn't listening. Talking and listening are two actions which were in progress at the same time in the past, and we use two sentences in past continuous to describe these two actions happening at the same time. Now, a very important point about past continuous in English. We generally use past continuous to describe background situation and past simple to describe main events. Let me write an example. Yesterday, I was walking and listening to music when I saw an old friend. I was walking is in past continuous, listening, another past continuous, but the last sentence is in past simple. We generally use past continuous to describe the background events or the background situation in a story. Like yesterday, I was walking and listening to music and looking at people, looking at the stores. Nothing is happening in here. We are just describing the scene. We are setting the scene for the main event, which is this sentence. I saw an old friend. This is the main event of your sentence, and we use past simple when we are telling a story to describe the main events in a sentence. The main event in a sentence is an event that pushes the story forward. It is an event that you are setting the scene to get to this event, to describe this event. Now, let's talk about the form of past continuous sentences, or how we write past continuous sentences in English. Now, positive or affirmative sentences. We start the sentence with subject plus was or were. These are your auxiliary verbs, and it is always was or were in past continuous, plus main verb in ing form, or main verb plus ing. Example: he was driving. I was, you were, he was, she was, it was, we were, you were, and they were. Now, negative sentences. Subject plus was or were again, but this time plus not. It means the negative form of the auxiliary verb. We also could use the contracted form, like subject plus wasn't, or subject plus weren't, and plus main verb plus ing. They weren't listening. They is your subject, weren't your auxiliary verb in negative form, and listening your main verb in ing form. Now, how do we write yes or no questions in past continuous? We start with was or were plus subject plus main verb plus ing, or main verb in ing form. Or was he watching the video? Was is your auxiliary verb, he is your subject, and watching the main verb in ing form. Now, WH questions. You start with WH word plus was or were as your auxiliary verb plus subject plus main verb in ing form. Again, what were you doing? What is your WH word, where your auxiliary verb, you, your subject, and doing, your main verb, in ing form. Now, a point before we get to the exercises. It's about when and while. When can have two meanings. Sometimes it means at the time that. Sometimes it means during the time that. While means during the time that. That is why we can use when with past simple and past continuous, but we use while with past continuous only. Example: she left when we arrived. When in here means at the time that. When this means that, we could use when with past simple sentences. But sometimes when means during the time that. For example, when I was driving she called. When in here means during the time that I was driving she called. And because it means during the time that, we can only use past continuous with that. And while means during the time that. So in here, instead of when, we could use while. We could say, while I was driving, she called. Okay, now let's take a look at some exercises together. These exercises are from the book Intermediate Language Practice. Okay, first exercise. Underline the correct word or phrase in each sentence. I'll give you a few seconds, then I will start explaining the answers. So I recommend you pause the video for a few seconds. Okay, let's begin. A. While I was washing my hair, the phone rang. As you can see in this example, washing the hair is the background event or the background situation, something which is going on in the past, and the phone rang is your main event. B. How did you feel yesterday afternoon? In here, we cannot say how did you felt, because whenever we use did as our auxiliary verb, our main verb, which is feel in this sentence, needs to be in the base form. C. When I got home, because getting home is not something which happens continuously, and it's a momentary event, so we don't use past continuous, we use past simple. When I got home, I received a phone call. These are two main events which are happening one after the other one. It means after I got home, I received a phone call. D. Last summer, I was going or I went swimming every weekend. We use past simple in here because one of the functions of past simple is to describe an action which happened on a regular basis in the past. E. When the dog bit Laura's leg, she screamed. In here, when means after. The dog bit Laura's leg, she screamed. These are two consecutive main events, or two events, one after another. So we use past simple to describe them. F. We sang some songs, because sang is the past form of the verb sing, which is an irregular verb. We sang some songs and then ate some sandwiches. Ate in here, this is your second main event, so again we use past simple to describe it. G. When you fell over the cliff, fell is the past form of fall, which is another irregular verb. What happened next? Again, happening, something happened is your main event. We use past simple. H. While Mary was washing up, something was in progress at a specific time in the past. She broke a cup. This is your main event. So washing up is the background situation, and broke is the main event. And broke is the past form of break, which is another irregular verb. I didn't see where the bus stop was. Again, we have I didn't see. We cannot say I didn't saw, because whenever you use the auxiliary verb did or didn't, we use the main verb in the base form. So I missed the bus. Again, missing the bus is not a continuous action, so we use past simple. J. What were you doing? Something which was in progress at a specific time in the past. When I phoned you last night. This is the main event, compared to what were you doing, which is describing the background situation. There was no reply. Okay, now next exercise. Rewrite each sentence according to the instructions given. I will start explaining these in a few seconds, so I suggest you pause the video for a few minutes if you need to write the answers. Then we can check them together. Okay, let's begin. I enjoyed the concert. We need to write this. We need to rewrite this sentence in the negative form. I enjoyed the concert. I didn't enjoy the concert. You ate all the bread. We need to rewrite this in the question form. Did you eat all the bread? C. Did John spend a lot? We need to turn this into an affirmative or a positive sentence. John spent a lot. Spent is an irregular verb, and the past form of it is spent. D. I felt well yesterday. Again, negative. I didn't feel, because when we use the auxiliary verb didn't, we need to change the main verb into the base form. I didn't feel well yesterday. E. Anna didn't buy a car. We write this in the affirmative form. Anna bought a car. Buy is another irregular verb. F. They won the prize. Question. Did they win the prize? Win is another irregular verb. G. Paul did speak Greek. Affirmative form is Paul spoke Greek. Again, speak as another irregular verb. H. I paid all the bills. Negative. I didn't pay, the base form of the main verb, all the bills. Okay, now let's take a look at another exercise. Put each verb in brackets into either the past simple or past continuous. So you need to decide which sentence is in past simple or main event of the story, and which one is the past continuous, the background situation. I'll give you a few minutes. If you can pause the video, write the answers, then we can start reviewing them together. I will start explaining them in a few seconds. All right. When Harry woke up, we told him the news. These are two main events which are happening one after another. B. Everyone was waiting. Everyone is singular, so we use was. Everyone was waiting. Waiting was something which was in progress, so we use past continuous. For the concert to begin, when a message arrived. So in here, this is a main event, we use past simple. C. Charlotte wanted a relaxing holiday. This is a fact in the past, which is one of the functions of past simple. So she chose, this is the main event, to stay on an island. Choose is another irregular verb. D. When Roberto studied in America, this is describing a fact or a situation in the past. His parents phoned him every week. This past simple sentence is describing something which happened on a regular basis or frequently in the past. E. I found my pen, the main event of this story, something which happened and finished in the past at a specific time, while I was looking for my bag. Again, when you see while, that could be indicative of past continuous. It means it's a sign that you should be using past continuous. F. Anne was watching a film on television when Julie arrived. Watching a film on television is the background situation, and Julie arrived is the main event. G. When the lights went out, something that happened and finished, I was lying in bed reading, something which was going on. And lie in here, when you add ing to the verbs which end in ie, when we add ing to these verbs, we remove ie and put y. Other examples are tie or die. H. When you went to the new Chinese restaurant, what did you eat? Again, something which happened and finished in the past, two main events which happen one after another. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching another episode of English Grammar with Max. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comments section. Thank you. See you next time.